to us about biohacking for beauty.
From a beauty point of view, collagen is a big one, which is great. There's also something called copper peptides.
Hi, everyone. This is Diane Gilman, formerly the Queen of Jeans, but now the proud host of my podcast, Too Young to Be Old, and an accidental biohacker. What, Diane? What is that? Yeah, accidental biohacker. And what might that be? Far from me is a whole movement going on that I became a part of without even really understanding it. And wow, that is all I can say. Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp is going to explain to us what biohacking is. And trust me, if you become an accidental or non-accidental biohacker like me, it is going to rock your world and change your life so much for the better. So, Dr. Nathalie, I have to say, I never thought it would happen where honestly I could customize supplements, put them in my body, and they would take away issues that have literally been putting up a wall around me, like inflammation, pain, lack of sleep. I am just blown away. You are the expert at biohacking. Go for it, girl. What is it and how can we do it?
Well, the definition of biohacking is to use science, biology, and self-experimentation to use basically our body to get optimized, and so we have better energy and performance. So I always kind of summarize it as we're leveraging our own physiology to be happier, healthier, and have more energy. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? And to do this, there's different means, and there are some that are actually ancestral living. We've been doing it kind of without knowing that we were doing it. For example, I'll talk about it further, but getting sun in our eyes in the morning. When you do this early in the morning, you're setting your circadian rhythm. Very important for you, especially if you suffer from a sleep issue. Get outside in the morning, expose your eyes to the sun, not with sunglasses and not staring at the sun, obviously, but that alone is also biohacking because you're leveraging things around you to modify your physiology. Another easy one too is breath work, right? And we don't need to go too complicated with that. If you really slow down your breathing, let's say breathing, 4 in, 6 out to have a longer exhale, you're going to slow down your heart rate. You're going to slow down everything. And that's biohacking your state. So if you want to, calm down, this is a great way to do it. And on the reverse side, if you want to ramped up yourself a little bit to get more energy, you can do fast, deep breathing. So doesn't cost anything. They're all things that you can do to tap into that. And this is, we'll just show the picture of my book here, but this is what my latest book is because I have many books. It's called Smart Cuts and it's Biohack Your Health Span. And I think it's important for people to have the tricks and the protocols. And I'm all about doing the work. I'm not saying that there's a magic pill you don't have to exercise. You still have to do the work, but why not be efficient? We're all busy, we want to age well. So why not have the top of the top science-based information that we can integrate into our daily lives?
So I never really heard about biohacking, but I was approached by a vitamin company who wanted me to be an affiliate, Particlaire. And they gave me 4 vitamins. And someone said, oh, you're biohacking now. Well, I come from the generation where 1-a-day vitamins, well, that was like earth shattering. Oh, you would take a vitamin once a day? Really? Why would you want a vitamin? Well, today we are talking about seriously focusing on what makes aging difficult and why modern aging has got to include biohacking. So I was very interested in these vitamins for one reason. I have arthritis in my right knee. It's terribly inflamed, and it just wrecks my life. I mean, I don't feel like I can go out without walking with a cane or two canes. My head is in a totally different place than my body is. It's very, very confusing and sometimes pretty depressing. And then the other thing is I don't sleep well because I'm always getting woken up by the pain. So I tried NMN and apigenin.
Janine, yeah.
Okay. And quercetin and berberine HCl. Now, I'm not a scientist like you. I don't know anything about this. So, yes, I read up on all of it, but I said, okay, for me, the test is really simple. I'm authentic. I want to tell the truth to an audience. Let's give it 8 weeks. In 5 days, my life has changed. And I'm not saying that you can't get any of this somewhere else, but I actually yesterday experienced my first day in about 2.5 or 3 years where my right knee didn't feel like an overstuffed water balloon, where even doing something like bending to sit down was excruciating. I sleep through the night.
Yeah.
It's outrageous because I don't have the pain and because I'm telling you that honestly, from my point of view as a non-scientific active observer, biohacking is about customizing your life. The way you would buy a condo in a unit and they would give you a whole load of what do you want for your counters, what do you want for your kitchen island, what colors do you want on the walls. That's biohacking to me. I take these vitamins for specific issues that are holding me back and making me feel older, and I feel so much better. So explain this, when this started, how big the movement is.
So the father of biohacking is David Asprey, and I believe his story that he was really sick with mold. He was overweight, brain fog, and he was an engineer by training, and he just took it upon himself to figure out what was going on. So when you Google biohacking, his name comes up because he basically started that movement. So you're right that biohacking is customizing your life, also called precision medicine, meaning.
Ooh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, precision medicine, functional medicine, but precision medicine that will look at you. Who are you? So you're not sleeping well, you have inflammation, and it's to go first of all to the cause of the problem, because we have to be careful that, not taking a pill for an ill, as I like to say, that why do you have inflammation? Is it past in your knee? You have a past injury. You already said that you've done red light therapy, which is also a biohacking tool, and it helps to regenerate at the cellular level with red light and infrared light, which digs deeper. So to me, it just makes sense to, again, leverage our physiology and focus on the person. But we still have to have the basic. I do take supplement. I do take M&M myself. I do take quercetin for inflammation. Berberine is great for blood flow regulation. So maybe you're getting up in the middle of the night from the inflammation, but maybe you have blood sugar dysregulation that wakes you up as well. So those 4 supplements that you just mentioned have a great combination, and the apigenin is great for people that have a hard time staying asleep. So all of that stuff that you're taking, I'm not surprised that you saw a difference. And there's a lot of power into herbs, natural approach to health. And some of them put a whole bunch of those supplements together. So they'll have, a joint formula, a brain formula. So you don't end up having to take too many. But you're right. It should be customized to the person right now. And, your goals later, because I mentioned with the book, health span versus lifespan.
Oh, yes, I
Right?
love that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And, the other thing is that for many of us, and in about 2 weeks, I'm going to have my 79th birthday. And I consider it an absolute privilege to still be here and be active and be contributing to society. But the truth is, you cannot depend on Western medicine to give you the entire solution. So when they give me a gel shot in my knee and I say to the doctor, who's young and hip and smart and female, what do you think of red light therapy? She works for a hospital in Manhattan that doesn't provide red light therapy. Therefore, you don't talk about what you can't sell. And so I realized with a certain amount of bitterness that the gel shot works maybe 75%, takes away most of the pain if you're lucky. But this is not the entire solution. And you are not going to be able to go to Western medicine and the whole hospital system we have in the USA and get a fair assessment where she sits down and says, okay, here are the supplements you need to take to bring down inflammation. Here's what red light is going to do for you. Instead, I believe she's Harvard educated. The answer for red light was, I don't know. I really don't know. So I love the idea of biohacking because I often think that aging, especially for females, is like this tsunami. And it's one problem after the next and one advantage after the next being yanked away from you. And the worst part of aging is feeling powerless. I think biohacking gives you back the discriminatory power to make choices.
I could not agree more, and it's fun. I totally experiment, and when I say experiment, I'm doing this the natural way. I'm not taking any, drugs or chemicals to enhance my thinking. It's all natural stuff, and there's brain-wise great supplements that are called nootropic that can help for focus and concentration. There's a lot out there. Now, on the flip side, supplement industry is not as well regulated and depending on different countries. So you do have to find companies that you can trust. But once you start listening to, podcasts on this, and once you start, sitting back and saying, okay, what is going on with me and who can help me? And you nailed it, because we need medicine. We need Western medicine. If you're in a car accident, broken limb or a heart attack, like, we need it. But it's further down the road or the health continuum, as I like to call it. So there's a lot that people can do. And you're so right about the power. I'm in Canada, and our healthcare system, I mean, we could have a whole discussion on that, and we won't. But at the end of the day is that we need to be our own advocate and figure out what is going on, what can I do? But it also means self-responsibility. And this is a conversation I have with patients. I see patients day in and day out. And it's like, you need to do the work, right? You need to do the basic stuff like sleep, like exercise. And especially with aging, we know that muscle mass decrease at about 1% after the age of 40. So sarcopenia, which is, losing muscle mass, is huge. And there's a direct correlation between keeping your muscle mass and longevity and health span. So those are, you got to do the work. But what else can you use in terms of tools that are available to you with, I said grounding. I was outside this morning with my coffee, my decaf coffee, my collagen, my creatine, grounding in my backyard. So it wasn't costly. And those are things that I can do to make sure that I'm following my physiology and nurturing it.
It's almost like that, and I always think it's very old school. There's a commercial on cable TV for hair color, and at the end, whoever is the star of the commercial gives this female very serious look and says, "We're worth it." And I always thought, oh my God, that's so corny. But actually, it's so true. If you are aging, if you are over 50, this is a clarion call to aging slower, the whole concept of reverse aging, and aging with a clearer head and a more productive point of view. You know, the one thing about retirement, which actually never happened for me, I had 4.5 weeks of retirement, that was enough, was I was always used to being very productive and having a voice. Now suddenly I've got a limp, I'm using a cane, bane of my existence. I'm not enjoying it. I'm losing lots of muscle mass, and I don't know what to do about it. I feel helpless. I feel like I was on a main highway going pretty fast, and suddenly I wasn't paying attention and I got onto a bumpy, unpaved country road where you have to go very slowly and you don't even have a destination anymore. And I would say to anybody who looks at aging and is frightened of it, which is almost everybody, and it definitely is harder on women than men, and you're thinking to yourself, of course I want to grow older, look at the alternative, but the years ahead are not looking attractive. Biohacking is the strategy.
Oh, it truly is. And I agree with the I'm worth it, but I would challenge that those TV commercials are trying to sell their quick fix product that is probably toxic and are going to impact your estrogen and dysregulate your hormones. So the concept is good. We just have to go at it the right way and use proper tools.
You know, the idea that you could help yourself, that you could be your own advocate in its own way is very much diametrically opposed to Western medicine, which has put all your faith in a doctor and go that route. And that was fine for me when I had breast cancer, even though I had a lot of questions. They were respectful about answering most of them. But it's so technical. Chemotherapy is so chemistry oriented, a class which I will admit I got a D- in high school. And then afterwards, when you want to rebuild your system, there's no answers.
Yeah.
So, no one tells you anything.
Yeah, there are, and there are more. There's doctors that do functional medicine, as I mentioned, precision medicine, nutritionists, naturopath, personal trainer. You need to
have one. It's great.
Perfect. So you need to build that wellness team of the people that are going to be there to support you, because even just testing in the regular hormone testing, for instance, in the regular system, it's not testing everything. And a lot of women will, be in their 40s or 50s and even 60s sometime and say, I'm just tired all the time. They go get their hormone tested, and I'm putting this in bracket because, like I said, they're not doing the full panel. And then the woman thinks she's going crazy, oftentimes is put on antidepressant because, she's not feeling great. And yet the testing was not thorough enough that it didn't notice certain things. And noticing those things, then it's lifestyle strategies. And if sleep is a big one, you need to attack your sleep like it's your full-time job, right?
Yeah.
Because as we get busier in life, our adrenals are working overtime, keeping the cortisol to a healthy level and so forth. So you need to pay attention to all these signs, and especially for women, busy career, pushing, and then you hit menopause and your adrenals are already kind of tapped out. And then menopause hits you like a ton of a brick. And then again, who do you go to help you? And there's still a lot of controversy, I would say, with hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone. You can't do this on your own. Like, it's complex, but there are some people that can help you support that. But again, you're going to have to do the work, going to bed at 1:00 and lying in bed with your iPad or your phone. That's not a good strategy, right? So you will have to make lifestyle modification. But I'm also about stacking those things because we're busy. So, my morning coffee, I just said I put creatine 5 grams per day. It's been shown not just for muscle building, but also for brain. And my mom passed away about 2 years ago of Alzheimer. So I'm on a mission to optimize my brain. So I do what I can. I put collagen in my coffee. Collagen
Me
is
too.
great. Perfect.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do this and then, it's just, you stack your
I
habit.
stack it up
Yeah.
as I go, and I take these new vitamins, in particular vitamins, in the morning because nobody hates taking pills more than me. I will do anything. I will decide, oh, I should really vacuum the kitchen after I put pills out. Anything to put it off. So don't think that I'm somebody that loves this stuff, but I love the results. And it was explained to me a while ago that women have very particular needs in terms of vitamin supplements that you're just not going to get off a regular drugstore shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of 1-a-day vitamin is so antiquated.
Yeah.
So I also take a whole program called Lyma, Lyma. That is from England. And it was basically the first time anybody ever came and offered me a solution for the problems of particularly aging females. And that made a difference. And I took it with their topical creams and their red light device for the face and the neck. And I used it on the top of the hands. Nobody told me to use it on the top of the hands. Nobody told me to use it on my neck. But I figured it out as I went. And if I had to say something that you keep repeating, which is so true, make a fun game out of it.
Yeah.
I do. I really like putting all of this together, and I'm always surprised when I see great results, and then I really become a fan of this particular regime in my life. And you're right, it only takes 5 or 10 minutes a couple of times a day, and you have the time, usually if you're over 50 or you've just decided to leave corporate life or teaching life or whatever it is, but you don't want to stop living. And the thing for me was, as the arthritis developed in my knee and we had COVID and I was working remotely from home instead of flying down, going to a TV studio, walking miles through that studio, people kept saying, "Oh, Diane, you're so in shape. Look at your legs." No, I'm not in shape. And no, I did not particularly lose weight. I just lost muscle mass. And now I'm trying to put it back on again.
Well, good on you that you have a personal trainer. Can I challenge you on a little something? You called the supplement pills. That alone has a bit of a negative connotation.
Yeah,
because, right?
It does.
So maybe change it and just say supplements and vitamins. It might
a good way to put it.
Good way to put it, right? And also, my first book is called Hack Your Health Habits because habits are so important. So it takes a while for us to implement a good habit or a bad habit. So I'm always about, again, stacking and making things easy for you, that it's part of your routine. And also, one thing that I see, again, also more on women, is that if you miss your vitamin one day, or if you miss whatever you said you're going to, don't beat yourself up with a baseball bat here.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is another day. And I always look at things. What are my daily habits or hacks that I want to do, protocol, my weekly and monthly and quarterly? Looking at it that way, you're like, oh, I can't eat everything every day. I can't, work out everything every day. So if you look at it in bigger segment, you're like, oh, I did 3 workouts this week. That's awesome. I took my vitamins, with 4 times. Well, that's awesome. So all of those things, we can't be perfect every day because every day looks different. You might be traveling, you might be, staying at a hotel. So it's to go easy on ourselves and look at the big picture. And I always say,
yes,
if you change one habit a month, That's doable, right? Like one a month. At the end of the year, you will have changed 12 things. Now that's cumulative power, right?
That's
That's
true.
compound. And 12 things can make a huge difference on your health. And I think once you start, as you did with the supplement you just tested, you start feeling better. You're like, heck, I want more of this.
I mean, who
Right?
wouldn't? Right. If they took away constant pain, which is very distracting and very limiting. But I know that our listeners and me for sure want to know one thing. Talk to us about biohacking for beauty.
Yeah,
Because
that is a big one. Well, I would say,
yeah.
we are what we eat. So again, we need to make sure that we are giving the body what it needs from the inside out. So
Uh-huh.
we can't skip, having, enough greens and reds and, your protein and all that. So, starving yourself or being on a fad diet or whatever, it's not going to be helpful. So from a beauty point of view, collagen is a big one, which is great. There's also something called copper peptides. So those are included as a peptide. A peptide is so we got protein, we got amino acids, and then peptides are a few amino acids branched together. So the peptide world is blowing up right now with what it can do. Some are in compound that you can ingest. Some are compound that you can inject yourself. So I haven't touched that part, but depending on what's going on with the person and if it's done under the right circumstances, it can be pretty amazing. But that said, copper peptide is something that I use in my own cream that I put every day.
How did you get it?
So one of the brand that I've used is called Vitally, Vitali. I've heard about it on a friend of mine's podcast, and I'm like, okay, I wasn't really paying attention to my skin that much. I'm like, okay, it's probably time to start paying attention. And I'm pretty blown away with what it does. I understand, from a chemistry point of view, what it does. So to me, it just completely makes sense to include that.
Well, from a chemistry point of view, what does it do? Is it about enhancing blood circulation? Because I wear Tommy Copper because it says that it's going to help you by stimulating blood circulation.
That's not the same mechanism, but there are some microneedling that you can do to augment blood flow. So that's another big one as well. And then I don't know if you've experienced with cold exposure. So doing a bit of a cold shower at the end of your shower and focusing on your face can really, it's good for the entire body.
What we used to do in the studio was you would get a giant mixing bowl because we did cooking shows too, right?
Yeah.
So you would go into their kitchen, get a giant mixing bowl. If you had been doing shows until 2 a.m., but they wanted you back for 8 a.m. shows, brutal, fill it up with ice cubes.
Yeah.
And immerse your face in it, and it's all about blood circulation and tightening muscles.
Yeah, you were biohacking back then, Diane, and you just didn't know it.
Can you believe it? I'm like an experienced biohacker. Who knew?
It sounds like it.
Really?
Yeah. And the other, again, simple hydration. And, we all know we need to drink our water, but electrolytes and using sodium, potassium, magnesium in the water to make sure that we're covering things. I'm also a big fan. I don't know if you've heard of hydrogen, molecular hydrogen water. So you can either put it in a glass of water, and it's a tablet that you can dissolve, and you need to drink it, fairly quick. And now there's also hydrogen bottles. Now, it's a bit of the Wild West with those bottles and in terms of the quality and so forth. So I can't even give you the name of a company, but I've been doing hydrogen water for three or 4 years.
Here's the point, and I say this to the audience. Part of me doing these podcasts is an endless desire to know what's next and what's going to make everybody's life better. And I say it again, God bless all our doctors, but you cannot depend on Western medicine alone, especially in hospital systems where what they need to recommend is what they make money off of. And the truth is, they're all terrified of being sued as well.
Yeah, it's also a time thing. Like seriously, why are we expecting our medical doctor to tell us what to eat? It's not part of what they've been trained at. They're already training us. Why should we expect the doctor to tell you how to work out? Go, if you don't know, go get some help. So I think we've dumped some responsibilities on the doctors that hey, they don't have the time, they're not qualified. I don't even know, a doctor could say, well, you need to lose weight and exercise. Well, what does that look like? Especially if you're injured. What does that look like if you need to lose weight? You've tried everything, but you have blood sugar issues. You're on the wrong type of meal plan for what you need. So you need to get that help somewhere else. So I think you're right. They have one way of looking at things, but I think, again, I go back to my self-responsibility for us. And I know it can be overwhelming. People say, oh, geez, it's easy for you to say you've studied in natural medicine.
Yeah.
But I think you're a perfect example. You have a problem. It's like, okay, let's try to find a solution that.
Yeah, like I don't think I'm living my optimum life with my knee this inflamed, and it controls. You can, as you age, really and truly feel like you've lost total control. And I think that because there is a time in your youth when everything is automatic, right? You're automatically beautiful. Your skin is automatically without a wrinkle. Your joints work. I ran for years, and I think because I didn't wear the right kind of shoes and because I didn't stretch correctly before and after, there is definitely a history of arthritis in my family, and that arthritis formed because I wasn't well informed enough. But I thought I was doing enough for myself because I was running 5 miles a day. But if you can give me tools to use at my age, and when I was 50 and 60 and now in my 70s, that make me feel as a total control freak, that I am at least exerting some kind of control over how I react with society and how I use tools around me and discover those tools, I feel much better about aging. And I say to anybody out there, if you are 30, and there are plenty of 30-year-olds listening to this podcast, now is a great time to begin. And actually, from my social media manager, Nina, who is exactly half my age, yeah, she saw me doing something with a vitamin and she said, oh my God, Diane, you're biohacking. And I'm like, what? So I think I'm a big biohacker with beauty too. I'm very adventuresome. I used red light and advocated it way before it became a trend because it just made sense to me.
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, this has been totally fascinating and I think well within the resources of our audience. Mm-hmm. What would be your final words, Dr. Natalie, about biohacking?
Well, I'd say, take control of your health, and it doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun. And I love the fact that you say adventurous. And I'm not saying, adventure taking chemical drugs and stuff like that. Just modifying your lifestyle and say, oh, how I changed this. I started taking this. I go to bed earlier. My sleep is better. I'm all about tracking. I'm all about measuring. You can measure HRV, heart rate variability. So have fun with it. Be playful. Don't be shy to try and monitor how you feel. Because like I said, at the end of the day, we want to have energy. We want to be happy. You want to be your best self so you can still be productive for society at any age. We want to contribute.
Yeah, and I will say this, it is never too late to begin. So it's never too late to start feeling better about where you are in life. It's never too late to take control of some areas of your well-being and health and mental agility. And there is so much information out there today that surely if you are, I can't even really say I'm semi-retired because I do 2 podcasts of my own every week, but a zillion others. But for people who have bowed away from the corporate world and are now more into being an entrepreneur or crafting your own life and choosing your own cruises and your own vacations, and certainly choose your vitamins, choose your supplements, choose where you think you can make a difference with your life. And you know what? A lot of the products out there today are so effective that you actually will be, like me, amazed. Can you believe I told that vitamin company, Particular, oh, give me 8 weeks before I give a testimonial, and here I am
already
on my 7th day, and I'm saying made a big difference in my life. And I'm a little jaded about that stuff because we get a lot of that kind of information and product coming our way. Biohacking is a thing. It is an important thing. And in a way, it connects you as an older female or person to the younger audience, and they are activated and they are not looking forward to aging classically. They're going to do it differently. So you know what, it definitely is a bandwagon to get on, but I'll tell you what, it is fun to take care of yourself, and it is priceless to see the results. Natalie, Dr. Natalie, will you hold up your book again,
oh
because
yeah
I
yeah
think that is so important.
Yeah, and section 5 is all about longevity and the 12 hallmark of aging and supplements. I mean, there's a whole natural anti-aging section or world out there that people can take things to support, their gut health, their brain health, because dementia and Alzheimer, my God, they're calling it type 3 diabetes now. So you want to keep your brain sharp. Yeah, you want to keep your brain sharp. So doing all this helps you making sure that you're aging well.
And we had somebody on who was had started a DNA company. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. That's my mouse sneeze, my on-air mouse sneeze. And I just took a DNA test, and then they come back, and their belief is, in conclusion, because this PC could go on forever, that we are geared as humans to live 120 years, but we don't because of outside sources like polluted air, polluted water, bad foods, tons of chemicals, putting chemicals on your skin, the largest organ in your body. And so we're going to get the DNA test back for what my particulars are, where I could really, dive down an endless rabbit hole, and how to avoid those, how to fix those. So, health span, I leave you with Dr. Natalie Beauchamp's greatest words. It isn't so much about lifespan, it's about health span. If you are living healthier, you are naturally going to want to live longer. So I say, live long and prosper. Thank you so much, Natalie Beauchamp, for really wise words and a look into the world of biohacking.
Thank you for having me on, Diane.
Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.